Okay, class, what I'm focusing on today is preparations for the test and a couple key problems. Just a note, problem 15, don't worry about it too much. It's really not that important. It will not be on the test. And if it is, I'll nix that type of problem. But the problems I've got here are problems 16, 17, and problems 18. Those are really kind of good problems to look at. All right, so the first one says the scores for a recent English exam can be represented by a normal model, and standing for normal, 75. That stands for the mean. Okay. And then 5.0 is the standard deviation. Where would you expect to be an unusual, or what would you score would you expect to be an unusually high for this exam? Now, my analysis is to always draw a picture and write down what information that we have. Okay, so it looks like, I'm sorry, well, I'll just kind of put that back there, try to make it a little neater. There's the mean. We're going to call the mean equal to 75. And then with this 5.0 standard deviation, we can kind of extend this in our mind. And, we'll go to the second standard deviation, the third, and it says unusually high. So this is the direction I'm going. And we have to add 5, so that's 80, 85, 90. Now logic says the more you go out, the rarer it's going to be from the higher from the mean it is, but unusually high, the percentages are dropping. So we consider usually at least 3 standard deviations away to start to become unusually high. So the first one is 80, second one is 85, the third one is 90. And just acknowledging that, we say, so the probability that a value X will be greater than 90. If you look at this last region, you're supposed to remember your percentages, and that is 0.15%. So that's a very small amount. And if we think about that, we say, wow, that's really up there. There are very few scores bigger than 90 on this exam. And then you go to answer A. That's basically the quickest way I can explain it. 17, find the number of standard deviations from the mean, round to the nearest hundredths. Ooh, okay, look at that. Number of standard deviations. Anytime I see that, anytime you see that, you should be thinking to yourself, Z. Z represents the number of standard deviations a value is from its mean. And you should remember the formula, X star. Remember, X star is the cutoff value on the graph minus the mean, all divided by the standard deviation. So that's the big way to kind of approach this here. And so you look at the information, you say, okay, what's the mean? It tells you the weights of the weights of children age 2 average 25 pounds. In fact, it's the 25 pounds. So the mean is 25. The standard deviation is 4 pounds. And this says how many standard deviations from the mean is a weight of 14 pounds. Oh, wait a minute. That weight represents X star. And the reason I know that is that if we thought about graphing it, you would sense each part of the information. And there is the 14. I apologize. In this case, I really don't need the shaded region. It didn't ask me for the probability being greater than 14 or less than 14. So in this particular case, we don't have to shade it. All right? But the point is, we did have the information. You really didn't need to draw the graph, but I'm doing it to make it clear where the information is. And of course, I should have marked 1 standard deviation equaling right here. The standard deviation is 4 pounds. All right. So figuring out Z is a piece of cake. You just use the formula, 25 minus, apologize, not 25, 14. 14 is X star minus 25 divided by 4. And I'll just go through here quick on my calculator, figure out what that all is. So I'll just do 14 minus 25, enter, divide that by 4, enter, and I get a negative 2.75. So Z will equal a negative 2.75. And then I look and it says about 2.5 standard deviations below the mean. Yes, to the left of the mean. That's what we mean by below. And the answer would be B. All right. Next one. Using 3 statistics classes, 50 students each took the same test. Let me move that a little bit. Shown below are histograms of the scores for the classes. Use the histograms to answer the questions. Now I'm going to do it two ways. One is what I call kind of like quick by eyeball, and then officially by the calculator. We'll see if the eyeball method works first. If it doesn't, we definitely have to go to the calculator method. So it says, which class had the highest median score? Now remember what medians are. It's the number of data points you have. So a good way of looking at this is saying there were 10 here, between 40 and 50, 10, between 50 and 60, 12, between 60 and 70, about 10, between 70 and 80, and then I'd say there were 8 between 80 and 90. Now the median, remember, is the middle value when all data is listed from high to low. So I'm thinking to myself, this accounts for 10 of the data points this way. This accounts for 18. And then the median is going to be somewhere between 60 and 70. And we could estimate that the median is 65. Okay? I do the same game here because technically you could pick up 2 on the inside here and then it would all be there. So now, this time you do it again. So this would be, let's say it's 5. Let's say it's about 10. Let's say this is about 7. Let's say this is about, I'll call it's halfway, let's call it 18. And this is halfway between 8 and 12, so let's call this 10. Now, you do the same thing again. There are 15 numbers in this direction, and then you picked up 28 in this direction. So when you pick up the last 7, there are 22. So if I think about it, the number of data from low to high, this adds up to 22. And the median would be in this interval range between 70 and 80. So I'd say this is approximately 75 is the median. We don't know exactly the median in this, but we can analyze the graph to give us an approximate value, an approximate region. Same thing here. This one is 5. This one is 8. This one is 20. Let's call it 24. This one is 8. This one is 5. It's symmetric, so there's a non-issue. There are 13 low numbers. There are 13 high numbers, and it's symmetric, so it's dead in the middle. So what I'd say this median is approximately 65. So let's see if we can even answer the questions. It says, which class had the highest median score? After analyzing all the information, I would definitely say class 2, where we approximated at 75. And so the answer is, well, sorry about this. The answer is B. All right, guys, I know I did this kind of quick. I hope this helps you a little bit. Replay the video to get the parts clearer. And, good luck.